In this video, we're going to be talking about creating a form in HTML, validating the information in a JavaScript file, and then sending it to your email via PHP. So looking at bringing all those components together. In this first video, we'll just talk about the form and some of the validation stuff. So for this particular form, and you have gotten, if you're in my class, you've gotten this HTML file as a starter, like a Kickstarter for the lab. We're linking to Bootstrap here, and we've got the viewport meta tag there so that you can see, so we can tell what size device the people are on. In the body, there is a container, a fixed width container that wraps around everything. You can see the closed tags way down here. And so that will help our form be responsive. There is a Jumbotron at the top of the page, which is a Bootstrap component that gives us an interesting top of the page. Actually, I'll just preview this for you so that you can see what it looks like. So this is our Jumbotron up here. And then we've got a row with a 12-column grid, and then a couple other rows, and some this column is offset, so there's just some layout options here. And then we have a form group, and within that form group there is a label for a input field. If you go and look at W3 Schools, you can go through all of and understand these elements. So if you just Google W3 Schools Bootstrap for forms, you'll come to this page and see the different types of form elements that you have. And in each case, you've got a form group, the label, and whatever type of input you want for that particular form. So this is an input form. It's the type of email and some other information here. So in this one, we have type of text. We've given it a name and an ID of form name. We've used the same thing for both of those. And it has a class that just gives it its look. And then it has some placeholder text, the word name, that's going to appear to start us off. So in this one, see how it has the word name there. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on this for you. The word name and the word email, that's what we see in the placeholder here. The only other things we've got here is a button that says send message, and it just has the Bootstrap classes on it, and it has the name of ID, but the ID of submit button, and that's what we're going to use in our jQuery here in a moment. And then we have a div that's just empty right now called Ajax response. This is where we're going to put any kind of errors, like you need to enter a name or you have left something blank. We'll give those errors back to that particular div. Okay, so our form's all ready to go. We're going to link to an external JavaScript file for our code. So I'm going to go up to File and New and choose JavaScript here. And I'm going to save that into the folder with my HTML. I'm going to call this mail.js, I guess, and hit save. Okay, then I can go ahead and close that off. So I've just created it here. Then in the bottom of my HTML page, I'm going to add a script tag. So script and then src to link to that external mail.js page and finish off my script tag. Once I do that, I get my little jelly bean up here at the top that says mail.js. I can click on that and move between those two files. Okay. Then in my JS file, I am going to use jQuery because we're already linked to it because we're using Bootstrap. So here's my jQuery library. So in there, I'm just going to set it up for jQuery by doing my document ready. So document.ready, bracket, bracket, semicolon. Then I'm just going to move my cursor between those two parentheses and write my function. So function, bracket, bracket, curly brackets. And then I put my cursor between those curly brackets and hit enter. So in here, I'm going to write all my code. Again, I'm putting this document ready because I only want this code to execute after everything's been loaded on the page. For this, this code, if I think through this logically, what I want to happen is once they fill in the form, they hit send message to activate the code. So that's the event I'm waiting for the click of the button. Now again, our button was called, if I go back and just look at it, the ID is submit button. So that's what I'm going to refer to. If your button's called something else, obviously it would be the ID that you want to do here. So following along with jQuery, I'm going to do $ bracket and then quotes. And inside of here is the selector. So I'm going to say, I want to go and point to submit button on the page. And when do I want this code to happen? When I click on it. So .click is my event. Then I'm going to move my cursor in between the parentheses there and again start a function. So this function's going to run when I click on submit button. So again, it's function, bracket, bracket, curly brackets. And I put my cursor once again in between those curly brackets and hit enter. Just to start off, to make sure I have written this code all correctly, I'm just going to do my, if I can spell it right, console.log, bracket, bracket, semicolon. And in here, I'll just do a message like, yes, this works. Woohoo, celebrate my win here. Okay, so then now when I save it, I will see an error about unexpected console statement. You could ignore that for now. Again, I'm going to go back over to the browser, refresh this. I'm going to have to open my console. So if I do a F12 when I'm in, at least when I'm in Chrome or Firefox, and lately I've been getting this error from Dreamweaver. Again, you can just ignore that. I think it's something to do with the preview. So right now, if I click send message, I should see, yes, this works in the console. Then I know my document ready is working. I know that I've written this click bit right. Okay, yay. The first thing's done. So after this, what I want to do is pull the user information from the form and store it in a variable. So I'm going to write that here. Pull the user information from the form and store it in a variable. Okay, so I have a couple forms here. So the first one is name. So over here, I'm going to say var name. So I'm going to create a new variable and I'm going to call it name. And it's going to equal whatever the value, whatever people have typed in here, that's going to go into this name variable. Now that particular form element, if I just go back up here, here's my name. The ID is form_name. Okay. So in my JavaScript file here, so the variable name equals, and I'm going to do a pointer to that field. So $ bracket quotes, hashtag form_name. So that's the ID of that element. And I want it to pull out the .val, so the value that somebody has put into that field. So it's going to grab the value, stick it into name. Now if I want to do a little test harness here again, I'm just going to move my console log down, and instead of just typing out some rando string, I want it to print out whatever's in that name variable. Okay, so let's save that and test it. Now we don't have any PHP here yet, so I don't need to upload this at this point in time. If I enter something here, Tanya, and hit message, it should return whatever I typed here. So if I typed in whatever, Bilbo, and hit send, it should print that out to my console. Common things that might have been a problem, syntax, spelling errors, that would be where I would start. So now I know name is working. Now I can pull the other elements out of the form. So I'm going to make another variable called email. It's going to equal, we need a pointer to the email form. That was called form email. So I could copy and paste it to make sure I don't mistype anything. And that all, again, is .val, the value that they entered there. I also need a variable for the message that they typed in. So same syntax. The message is, field name is form_MSG. So I'm going to grab that and put that there. And again, I want the val, .val, object.property. Okay. And then, okay, so then I want to make sure that all of this stuff has worked. So I'm going to just delete my what's in my console log right now, and I'm going to update it. And just zoom in a little bit here for you. So within those parentheses, I'm going to make a string of things. So I'm going to type in name equals, and go outside of the string and say plus name. So if I've entered in Bilbo, in the console log it should say name equals Bilbo. And I'm going to put another plus there. And then I'm going to say and, so an ampersand, email equals, after the quote, plus email. That's the variable email. So then again, it's going to print out and email equals, and then whatever they actually had entered into the field. And then finally, and message equals. I'm doing this for a specific purpose because I'm testing out the data string that I'm going to eventually send to my PHP. So I'm kind of using this console log as a test to make sure that, yes, I've got this formatted properly. Okay, so I'm going to save that and go back to my form, refresh my page, and enter some stuff here. So I'm going to go Bilbo. His email is bagans@gmail.com. And his message is, this is a great form, or something. You can write whatever you want. When I hit message, I should see over in my console, name equals Bilbo and email equals what I've put in. Oh, I've got an error there. I put a $sign instead of an ampersand. And it should be and this and message equals whatever they've typed in. So I've gone back and I've accidentally put an error there. So again, this is a really good test that if I do make a mistake, I'm catching that early instead of waiting for blah, 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 waiting for until I've uploaded it or till I've gotten further down the pipeline. So if I look down here again, now I've got that formatted right. Okay, so just take a moment here and make sure that that actually is displaying properly. In the next video, we're going to look at, okay, now we've pulled the stuff out of here. How can we check, did they actually type something in the field, or did they type the right thing in the field? So watch for that in the next video.